Hey, good afternoon and welcome to another 6 Minutes of Sanity. So the primary season is over and next week begins major party convention time. I'm not terribly pleased with either of the two major party candidates, and I'm pretty much unwilling to abide by the conventional wisdom of choosing the lesser of two evils. So I took a little bit of time to look at the party platforms for all four major parties. Four areas that I managed to look at was an approach to governments, education, the biggest threat to society, and the focus on when they win the White House. Looking at the approach to governance, the Republican Party pretty much right off the bat demands lawmakers use religion, and we're talking the Judeo-Christian religion, as a guide when legislating. The Democratic Party they value faith in many forms and the acts of justice, mercy, and tolerance that are inspired by it, and they want to find ways to support that work wherever possible. The Green Party wants to protect the rights of future generations, women, minorities, refugees, and the LGBTQ population. And Libertarians, they're kind of a live and let live bunch. As long as no harm is done to anybody else, there should not be any need for governmental interference. Looking at education, the Libertarians want to return control back to the state and local levels. They would love to get rid of the federal Department of Education. They're pretty much opposed to the Common Core, and they believe that federal control of education discourages innovation, freedom, and flexibility, and that the costs of federal programs tend to outweigh the benefits that are gained by it. The Green Party also wants to replace the Common Core, and they would like to see curriculum developed by educators with input from individual parents and the communities involved, with a restoration of arts, music, and recreation into the schools. And they want to make sure that curriculum that's developed is racially inclusive, sensitive, and socially relevant. The Democratic Party would like to encourage high-quality science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-focused classes, including computers in the classroom, including fine arts, and career pathway education for all students. And the Republican Party, they would like to see the Bible taught in the public schools and believe that it is indispensable to develop an educated citizenry. So the GOP, when asked about what's the greatest menace to the American public, right off the bat, they immediately say that pornography is, quote, a public menace that is especially harmful to children. The Democratic Party disagrees and states that climate change is what poses a real and urgent threat to the children's health and future. Also, it damages the damage to our economy and our national security. The Green Party believes that a proponent of an activity which poses a threat of harm to human health or environment should be responsible to bear the burden or to prove otherwise. And the Libertarians believe that the government's efforts to regulate, tax, or manipulate the marketplace in order to impact any perceived threats to society are either not cost-effective or effective at all. So what's going to happen if Gary Johnson wins the White House? Basically, his platform is that people should be permitted to lead their personal lives as long as they see fit, as long as there's no harm done to others, and without the unconstitutional scrutiny by the NSA, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Drug Enforcement Agency, or any other government organization. Jill Stein and the Green Party would protect the invasion on constitutional rights, which have happened over the last 2 decades. They would also focus on a push towards equal pay and reproductive freedom for women, the defense of indigenous rights, an improvement of economic and social conditions, such as the war on drugs and the North American Free Trade Agreement abroad, which would reduce the flow of immigrant refugees. The Democratic Party, if Hillary Clinton is brought into office, would continue to fight for comprehensive federal and state non-discrimination protections for all LGBT Americans. They would also work to improve the school climate. And should Donald Trump come to the White House, the GOP will work to protect future generations from damage and addiction by overturning the Supreme Court marriage decision, appointing federal judges who, quote, respect traditional family values, unquote. They would also promote state laws that would limit LGBTQ rights. So as I take a look at each of the four-party platforms, I find that the GOP's to be the most theocratic and unconstitutional. The Democrats have touted that their platform is the most left-leaning in the last 2 decades. My concern is the ability of the candidate to really make good on those promises. The Green Party and Jill Stein are making efforts to correct poor foreign and domestic policy decisions which have come back to roost over the last 20 years. And when I look at the Libertarian agenda, I feel that they need to scale back rather than completely eliminate the role of government. If you like what you've seen here, send me an email and let me know. bowen.mike@yahoo.com.